Chapter 1. The distress call that wasn't there. Captain Mara Velez knew something was wrong because Ben Okafor was arguing with a coffee mug. She paused halfway through the hatch leading into engineering and watched him for several seconds. "You've been glaring at that cup for almost a minute." Ben didn't look up. "It moved." "It absolutely did not. It was closer to the edge." Mara folded her arms. "The ship isn't accelerating." "I know. So why would it move?" Ben finally looked at her. "Because something's vibrating." Anja Petrov didn't even bother looking away from the maintenance terminal. "It always vibrates. This is a different vibration. You've said that every day for 2 weeks, because every day it's been a different vibration." Anja sighed. "You rebuilt half this ship after Kepri. If you keep chasing every new sound, you'll spend the rest of your life with your head inside a bulkhead." Ben pointed a wrench toward the ceiling. "You hear that?" Mara listened. The Resolute was never quiet. The environmental pumps hummed at slightly different pitches because one of them had come from a mining tug and the other from a hospital transport. Somewhere aft, an access panel rattled whenever the port maneuvering thrusters idled. The recycled water system made a faint metallic clicking sound every 30 seconds. Nobody had found the source. Everyone had eventually agreed to stop trying. "I hear the ship," Mara said. "Exactly." Ben looked almost offended. "It's humming in D-flat." "I didn't know ships had musical keys." "They don't. This one does." Anja looked up. "I told you she'd say that. You two made a bet. 2 credits. Ben reached into his pocket and handed Anja a coin. "I hate being predictable." Mara smiled. "You really aren't." Ben rubbed his left shoulder as he bent to pick up another tool. The movement was small enough that most people would have missed it. Mara did not. Anja noticed too, but neither of them mentioned it. Instead, Anja quietly picked up the heavier equipment case before Ben could. He noticed and pretended he had not. Some arguments weren't worth having before breakfast. The Resolute wasn't beautiful. Nobody had ever claimed it was. The tug looked as though 3 different ships had collided at low speed and simply decided to stay together. Fresh gray hull plating surrounded older blue sections. The replacement towing mount from Kepri was slightly larger than the original, leaving an uneven seam that Ben insisted he would eventually repaint. He'd been saying that for 6 months. Nobody believed him anymore. Inside, the ship felt even more lived in. A corridor near engineering sloped almost imperceptibly because the replacement support frame had been welded a few millimeters off level. The galley table had one short leg. Someone, probably Ben, had solved the problem by sliding an ancient operations manual underneath it. Nobody remembered what the manual was actually about. It had become part of the furniture. The drinking water carried the faint metallic taste of the agricultural circulation pump Ben had installed after Kepri. He claimed nobody could taste the difference. Everyone could. The crew simply stopped mentioning it. Home rarely tasted perfect. It tasted familiar. The smell of breakfast drifted down the corridor, or what Ilyan insisted qualified as breakfast. Mara stepped into the tiny galley. The Versh navigator stood over the stove wearing an apron that read, "Trust ME, I'm guessing." Mara had asked where he'd gotten it. He refused to answer. "What is that?" she asked. Ilyan stirred a steaming pot. "Traditional Versh morning broth. It smells like wet rocks. It is mineral-rich. So are asteroids. They're harder to chew." Mara opened one of the cupboards. "Please tell me there's toast." "There is. Human toast, I have learned. You burned it. A little." "Then yes." She poured herself coffee, real coffee. The kind Maya Ortiz insisted was worth shipping halfway across council space. Ben wandered in a moment later. He sniffed the broth. "I think it's getting stronger." "It isn't. It's definitely getting stronger. It is the same recipe." Ben looked into the pot. "Are those mushrooms?" "No." "Good. What made you think they were mushrooms?" "They look like mushrooms." "They are shellfish." Ben stared. "From where? They don't have shells anymore. That somehow makes it worse." Anja walked in carrying a maintenance tablet. "It smells better than last week." Ilyan looked pleased. "Progress? It smelled like engine coolant last week." "Smaller progress." They ate together, not because anyone had scheduled it, because somehow they always ended up there. Ben complained about the vibration. Anja insisted it was imaginary. Ilyan described a Versh festival where people competed to build perfectly balanced stone towers without speaking. Mara asked why they couldn't speak. "It would distract the builders. What if someone sneezed? The attempt would be invalid." Ben looked horrified. "Your people sound exhausting. They say the same thing about humans." "Fair." The conversation drifted naturally. Nobody talked about work. Nobody mentioned the reports waiting on Mara's desk. Nobody brought up Kepri for 20 quiet minutes. They were simply 4 people eating breakfast aboard an old tug. Ilyan watched the others laugh over Ben's latest theory about musical engines. He smiled until his terminal vibrated silently against his leg. He glanced down. Council Navigation Directorate. Final appointment confirmation. He didn't open it. Instead, he slipped the terminal back into his pocket. Not yet. He would tell Mara after breakfast. There would never be a good time, but there had to be a better one than this. The alarm interrupted him with one soft electronic tone. A second tone followed, and the bridge speaker crackled. Priority distress beacon detected. Everyone stopped eating. Ben sighed. There goes breakfast. Mara stood. Bridge. Nobody complained. They simply moved. Ben grabbed his jacket. Anja collected her tablet. Ilyan slipped his unanswered message back into his pocket. The broth would still be there later, probably. The bridge of the Resolute wasn't impressive. The command chairs didn't match. One display had a faint crack in the corner. Someone had labeled one console with handwritten tape reading. Don't hit this one. Nobody remembered why. Nobody removed the label. Mara settled into her chair. Source. Ilyan was already working. Emergency beacon. Origin, Hespera Corridor. Ben looked up immediately. Again, Mara noticed. You know the area, old shipping route. Mostly abandoned. Nothing out there except relay debris. Anja frowned. So why would someone be transmitting a distress call? Ilyan enlarged the signal. It appears genuine. A synthetic voice repeated through the bridge. Mayday, Mayday. This is civilian transport Silver Current. Catastrophic drive failure, life support declining. 712 souls aboard. Immediate assistance required. The message repeated exactly the same way. Not just the words, but the pauses and the breathing. Everything. Ben frowned. That's odd. What? The timing. Mara looked at him. You noticed? It repeats perfectly. So, no one's that consistent. He played it again. The breaths matched. Every hesitation and every syllable matched exactly. Anja leaned forward. Recorded. Ilyan nodded slowly. I believe so. Mara looked at the navigation display. How far? Just under 4 hours. She didn't hesitate. Set course. The engines rumbled beneath their feet. Ben smiled despite himself. There. Mara looked at him. What? The vibration. It's gone. Anja stared. You are impossible. I know. 4 hours later. The Resolute emerged into the reported coordinates. Empty space. No transport, no drive plume, no debris field, only stars. Mara frowned. Report. Ilyan scanned again. I have the beacon. Where's the ship? Silence. Ben adjusted the sensors. I don't see one. Anja zoomed the tactical display. Nothing larger than maintenance debris. The distress signal continued. Mayday, Mayday, this is civilian transport Silver Current. Mara stood. Bring us closer. The beacon drifted slowly through space. When it appeared on the forward cameras, everyone became quiet. It was not attached to a ship. It had been cut away. The mounting bracket still showed fresh scoring marks. Someone had not ejected the emergency transmitter. Someone had removed it deliberately. Ben looked at the display. Well, that's not good. No, it really isn't. Ilyan enlarged the surrounding sensor data. Captain, what? I'm reading residual engine signatures. From the Silver Current, he shook his head. No. He zoomed farther out. Another trail appeared, then another, then another. One trail became 5, then 9, then 15 separate engine traces. All heading in the same direction, deeper into the Hespera Corridor. Mara stared at the display. That's not one missing ship. No. Ilyan's throat scales darkened slightly. It appears to be an entire convoy. He hesitated, then quietly added. The Council searched this region 3 days ago. Mara looked toward the endless darkness ahead. How far did they search? The official report doesn't specify. She nodded once. Then we're going to find out. The Resolute turned slowly toward the fading engine trails. Behind them, the lonely distress beacon continued broadcasting into empty space, calling for help, long after the ship that carried it had disappeared. Chapter 2. Into the Hespera Corridor. The Hespera Corridor had earned its reputation honestly. Nobody alive remembered who had first called it a corridor. There was no corridor anymore. Centuries earlier, before the oldest council records, a chain of transit anchors had allowed ships to cross nearly 300 light-years in carefully controlled jumps. Then something had gone wrong. The anchor network failed. Nobody agreed exactly how. Some blamed war. Others blamed neglect. A few historians insisted the builders themselves had dismantled it after discovering something dangerous about the region's strange gravitational currents. Whatever the truth, only fragments remained. Broken relay stations drifted in silence. Navigation buoys blinked warnings no one updated anymore. Cargo traffic slowly found safer routes. The Hespera Corridor became one of those places experienced captains mentioned only long enough to advise younger crews to stay away. Unless someone needed help, then humans went anyway. The Resolute crossed the outer marker 2 hours after recovering the distress beacon. The stars changed first, not dramatically but unmistakably. Straight lines bent ever so slightly. Distant constellations shimmered as though viewed through moving water. Ben frowned at the forward display. "I don't like that." Anja looked over. "The stars, they're wiggling. They aren't supposed to wiggle. They're not." "They are." Mara sipped her coffee. "They've always done that out here." Ben looked at her. "You've been here before?" "Once." "Why?" "I was younger." "Fair enough." The ship itself noticed before the crew did. Tiny structural creaks echoed through the hull, not loud, just enough that everyone aboard unconsciously stopped talking for a moment. Ben tilted his head. "There." "What?" "That wasn't our hull." Anja raised an eyebrow. "You're identifying individual creaks now. That one came from frame 12. You can't possibly know that." "I installed frame 12. "You installed half the ship." "Exactly," she sighed. "I walked into that one." On the bridge, Ilyan watched the sensor display become steadily less cooperative. "Captain, what now? I'm receiving our own radar pulse. Didn't we send it?" "Yes, it just arrived." Mara blinked. "Explain." "The reflection reached us." He checked the timestamp twice. 38 seconds before the original transmission. Ben looked up from engineering telemetry. "I don't think physics likes this place." Ilyan quietly replied. "I don't believe physics has been asked." The corridor grew stranger the farther they traveled. Floating fragments of ancient station hulls drifted without obvious orbit. A navigation buoy blinked steadily. Its identification signal listed an inspection date nearly 400 years overdue. Someone had painted a bright orange warning stripe across its side. Underneath, faded letters remained visible. "Do not." The rest had been worn away by centuries of micrometeorites. Ben stared at it through the external cameras. "I hate unfinished warnings." Mara nodded. "They're usually earned." By late afternoon, the bridge settled into the comfortable rhythm long-haul crews always developed. Nobody spoke continuously. People drifted in and out of conversation. Mara read maintenance reports while pretending not to. Ben wandered up from engineering carrying 3 different bolts. He placed them on the navigation console. "Question." Ilyan looked up. "Yes. Which one belongs in my engine?" "I have absolutely no idea." "Good." Ben picked up the middle bolt. "It was this one." Anja entered behind him. "It was not." "It absolutely was. You just guessed." "I guessed correctly. You guessed confidently." "That helps." Anja took the bolt from his hand. "You've been looking for this for an hour. I knew where it was. It was in your pocket." "I was carrying it. For safekeeping." "Exactly." She handed it back. "You worry me." "I've heard that before." The mood remained light until the first echo arrived. A voice crackled through the bridge speakers. "Captain." Everyone looked up. "Captain." Silence then. "Captain." Ben frowned. "Who's calling?" Nobody answered. The voice continued. "Captain, coffee's getting cold." Mara stared at the speaker. "That was me." Ilyan muted the channel. "It appears to be yesterday." "What?" "Our internal communications." "Yesterday?" The signal reflected through the corridor. Ben grinned. "So technically." He pointed toward Mara. "Your coffee has been getting cold for 24 hours." She looked at him. "I was wondering how long it'd take." Toward evening, Ilyan finally detected something new. "Engine residue." Everyone focused immediately. "Fresh?" Mara asked. "Within 36 hours. One ship." He enlarged the display. "No, 15. The engine trails matched the readings they'd seen at the beacon. The convoy had definitely entered the corridor. Then. Every trail scattered, not randomly, deliberately. Ben leaned closer. "They split up." Ilyan slowly shook his head. "I don't think so." "What then?" "They all changed course at exactly the same point." Mara looked at the display. "As if." "They were avoiding something." The first wreckage appeared 20 minutes later. It was not a destroyed ship, only a cargo container. Its emergency locator still blinked. Anja maneuvered alongside. Ben suited up. "I'll bring it in." "You don't know what's inside," Mara reminded him. "I know. You still volunteered." "I always do." She couldn't argue with that. The container was almost empty. One emergency ration pack. 3 children's blankets, a box of educational tablets, and a stuffed animal shaped like some long-extinct creature with 6 legs and oversized ears. Ben held it up. "Huh, what is it?" Mara asked over the comm. "I think." He squeezed it. It squeaked. "I think it's somebody's favorite toy." Nobody spoke for several seconds. The empty cargo container suddenly felt much heavier. The second discovery came from Ilyan. I have a life pod. The bridge became instantly alert. Distance, 800 meters. Power, minimal. Bring it aboard. The pod contained 3 survivors, a Doran grandmother, a young freight pilot, and a frightened boy no older than 10. Medical scans showed dehydration and exhaustion, but nothing life-threatening. Anja and Ben helped them into the infirmary. The little boy refused to let go of the stuffed animal. Ben quietly placed it back in his hands. You found Mr. Buttons. The child nodded without smiling. I thought he was gone. So did I. Several hours later, after warm food and a little sleep, Mara sat beside the grandmother in the galley. Not in the briefing room or on the bridge, but in the galley. The old Doran held a bowl of soup carefully between 4 delicate hands. She hadn't finished it. She mostly seemed happy that it stayed warm. What happened? Mara asked gently. The old woman looked toward the little boy sleeping against the far wall. We answered a distress call. Mara exchanged a glance with Ilyan. What kind of distress call? A freighter, engine trouble. We never found it. The freight pilot picked up the story. Instead, he swallowed. Everything changed. What changed? The stars, Ben quietly nodded. They've been doing that. No, the pilot shook his head. They. He searched for the words. Folded. Nobody interrupted him. The convoy scattered. Communications failed. We tried to regroup. The signal. He looked toward the recovered beacon displayed on the galley table. Kept moving. Mara frowned. The beacon, we'd chase it. It would disappear, then appear somewhere else. The grandmother finally spoke again. It wasn't asking for help. It was. She closed her eyes. Leading us. Silence settled over the galley. Even Ben stopped fidgeting. Ilyan slowly opened the navigation map. The convoy hadn't accidentally wandered deeper into the corridor. Someone, or something, had used a false distress signal to pull rescuers off course. The little boy stirred in his sleep, still holding Mr. Buttons tightly against his chest. Mara looked around the table, at her crew, at the exhausted survivors, at the engine trails vanishing into the impossible geometry ahead. Then she quietly said, We're not chasing a beacon anymore. She looked at Ilyan. What are we chasing? The Versh navigator zoomed farther into the corridor. For a long moment he said nothing. Then his throat scales darkened. I think. He pointed toward a region where every engine trail disappeared into the same patch of distorted space. We're chasing everyone. Chapter 3. The first rescue fails. The silver current appeared on sensors 3 hours later. At first it looked like a mistake. A bright mass surfaced on the far side of the distortion field, vanished, then reappeared 2,000 kilometers closer. Ilyan froze the display. Contact. Mara leaned forward. Ship. Possibly. Helpful. The corridor is being uncooperative. More than usual. Yes. That was enough to quiet the bridge. Ilyan changed frequencies. The contact split into 3 images. Then 7, then returned to 1. Ben looked over from engineering. Could be an echo. Could be, Ilyan said. Do you believe that? No. Good. Why is that good? I prefer knowing when we're worried. Anja entered carrying 2 sealed meal containers. She handed one to Mara. You missed lunch. I was busy. You were sitting. That can be busy. Anja placed the container on the command console. Eat. Mara looked down. What is it? Ilyan's broth. She pushed the container away. I'm not that hungry. From navigation, Ilyan said, that is insulting. It is survival. The sensor contact appeared again. This time a transponder came with it. Weak, distorted, but readable silver current. Nobody spoke for a moment. Then Mara opened a channel. Silver current, this is salvage tug Resolute. We received your distress signal. Respond if able. Static, a burst of noise so sharp it made Ben pull one earpiece away. Then silence. Mara tried again. Silver current, this is Resolute. We have 3 of your convoy survivors aboard. The response arrived backward, not the words, the entire transmission, a human voice speaking in reverse through layers of static. Anja stared at the speaker. I don't like that. Ben nodded. Finally, something we agree on. Ilyan recorded the signal and reversed it. A woman's voice emerged, broken and thin. Repeat. This is Captain Odelia Brandt of the Silver Current. We have 11 vessels remaining in formation. Power is failing. Do not approach on direct thrust. The message ended. Then began again, exactly the same. Mara looked at the display. 11 vessels. We detected 15 trails, Ilyan said. 3 survivors came from 1 pod. That still leaves at least 3 ships unaccounted for. Ben's expression changed, or gone. Nobody corrected him. Mara keyed the channel again. Captain Brandt, this is Mara Velez. We're coming to you. The answer took 29 seconds. This time the voice came through normally. Don't. Mara looked at Ilyan. Live transmission. Yes. Odelia Brandt continued. If you can hear me, hold position. We're already inside the corridor. Then turn around. That would be rude. A pause then. Who is this? Captain Mara Velez, salvage tug Resolute. Another pause, longer, Kepri. Mara glanced toward Ben, he shrugged. Apparently news traveled, yes. Odelia gave a quiet, exhausted laugh. Of course. That sounded ungrateful. It was recognition. Of what? The kind of person who ignores good advice. Mara almost smiled. Where are you? Odelia transmitted coordinates. Ilyan plotted them. The navigation system rejected the solution, then accepted it, then placed the destination behind them. Ben looked at the map. That seems inconvenient. Can we reach it? Mara asked. Ilyan's 4 hands moved across the console, not directly. Indirectly. Possibly. That word is doing too much work today. It remains accurate. Odelia's voice returned. Listen carefully, the space around us is moving. Mara frowned. Space doesn't move. Tell it that. A new data packet arrived. Ship positions, engine output, gravity readings. Half the file was corrupted, enough remained. 11 vessels circled something invisible, not in an orbit, not exactly. Their paths bent and looped inward like water circling a drain. At the center lay the remains of an ancient transit anchor. It was too large to be called a station. A broken ring thousands of kilometers across, buried in distorted light. Every ship was slowly falling toward it. Ben stared at the telemetry. That's not gravity. Ilyan looked toward him. It behaves like gravity. No. Gravity is honest. Anja set the second meal container beside him. Eat before you start arguing with the universe. I'm working. You can be wrong while chewing. He opened the container. The smell reached the bridge. Mara looked at Ilyan. Your broth is becoming a tactical weapon. My family considers it comforting. Your family is stronger than mine. The comment earned the smallest laugh. It helped, only a little. Then the silver current appeared beyond the forward glass. Not all at once. The stars bent. A dark shape slid out of nothing and remained, a passenger carrier. Long, broad, built for 700 people and carrying too many scars. Its engine housings glowed unevenly. Emergency lights blinked along the hull. Behind it, other ships emerged one by one, 2 ore haulers, a medical transport, a pilgrimage vessel marked with gold bands, 3 family freighters, a school transport, a luxury yacht with 1 engine section blackened. Others farther back, distorted beyond easy identification. The convoy did not drift together, it strained together. Every vessel fired engines at different intervals, fighting the invisible pull toward the anchor. The effort had slowed their descent. It had not stopped it. Mara stood. Get me Captain Brandt. Odelia appeared on the main display. She was human, older than Mara, short gray hair. A bandage wrapped around one temple. The bridge behind her was dark except for emergency lighting. Several crew members worked without speaking. Odelia looked at Mara for a long moment. You're smaller than I expected. The ship or me? Yes. Mara sat back. You have 712 aboard. 689 now. The bridge went still. What happened? We lost an atmosphere section during the first pull. How many? 23. Odelia said it cleanly. No hesitation. No attempt to make it softer. Mara recognized the voice. A captain who had already repeated the number too many times. What about the other ships? 11 still responding. 2 missing. 1 destroyed. Name. Family freighter Ariadne's Gift. Ben closed his eyes, only briefly. Odelia continued. We transferred 27 survivors from the wreck. How many aboard the freighter? 41. There was no useful answer to that. Mara gave none. What have you tried? Full burn outward. Ship-by-ship escape. Towing the smaller vessels. Cutting toward the anchor. And everything makes the pull worse. Ben leaned toward the display. Not everything. Odelia looked at him. Who are you? Ben Okafor. Engineer. Of course you are. Can you send me your thrust logs? Already sending. He turned back to his console. Anja watched his left hand as it moved. His fingers shook once. He closed them into a fist, opened them. Continued working. Mara saw it, said nothing. Odelia looked back at her. You need to leave while you still can. Not happening. That wasn't a request. Neither is this. Mara brought up the convoy map. We'll take the nearest ship first. No. The school transport has the lowest reserves. I know. So we pull it out? You won't. We're a tug. You're one tug. That's usually enough to start. Odelia's face hardened. Mara. It was the first time she used her name. You don't understand the load. Ben answered without looking up. We will. The captain of the Silver Current stared at him, then at Mara. You people really do this every time. Mara shrugged. Not every time. Ben added, sometimes we're asleep. Anja nodded, rarely. Odelia looked as though she wanted to argue, then a warning sounded behind her. Someone called out. School transport losing position. Every display changed. The smallest convoy ship had slipped outward from formation, not toward safety. Downward toward the center, its engines flared, the invisible current bent the exhaust sideways. Odelia turned. Tell them to cut main drive. A crew member answered, they'll fall faster. They'll tear them out if they keep pushing. Mara looked at Ilyan. Distance. 3,000 kilometers. Close enough. For what? She opened the shipwide channel. Tow stations. Ben looked up. We haven't mapped the shear. We have a ship falling. That isn't a map. It's motivation. Anja was already moving toward the aft corridor. I'll prep the main assembly. Ben stood, the movement pulled at his shoulder, his face tightened. Anja stopped. I can handle the mount. I know. Then stay here. I'm the engineer. You're also slow today. The words landed harder than she intended. Ben went still. Anja regretted them immediately. He looked down at his left hand, then toward the engineering display. I'm fine. No. You're functional. That's not the same thing. Mara cut in before the argument could grow. Ben stays on control. Anja takes the mount. Neither looked pleased, both obeyed. That was enough for now. The Resolute turned toward the school vessel. Its name appeared across the damaged hull. Bright Horizon. Several hundred students and staff had been traveling home from an exchange program. Now the ship spun slowly as it fell. Its captain came over the channel. Resolute, we cannot stabilize. Shut down main thrust, Mara said. If we do, we lose altitude. You're not at altitude. Feels like it. Shut it down. A pause. Then the school ship's engines died. Its descent accelerated. Mara fired the Resolute's thrusters. The tug pushed across the distorted space. Stars stretched around them. Distance readings doubled, then halved. The bright horizon appeared to slide sideways while remaining directly ahead. Ilyan gripped the navigation controls with all four hands. Do not follow the visual display. I wasn't planning to. It is lying. I gathered that. Turn 2 degrees starboard. The ship is port. Not according to the gravity field. Mara turned starboard. The school vessel moved into the center of the window. Ben watched the stress readings. Tow mount ready. Anja's voice came from aft. Cable loaded. External guidance online. Mara opened the school vessel channel. We're passing beneath you. Prepare to receive magnetic tow head. Your docking collar is damaged. We know. Do you have another hardpoint? A frightened voice answered, cargo frame. Ben shook his head, too weak. Mara asked, alternative. He studied the plans, forward engine brace. That's inside the drive wash. The drive is off. For now. Anja came over the channel. I can place it. Ben turned. No. You said the brace can hold. I said maybe. Same thing today. It absolutely is not. Anja sealed her helmet. Her breathing entered the channel. I'm going outside. Mara looked toward Ben. He hated it. He also knew she was right. 4 minutes, he said. Then the local field shifts. How do you know? I don't. Comforting. It's what the numbers suggest. Anja moved into the airlock. The outer door opened. She crossed the hull using a maneuvering frame, carrying the tow head beneath her. The space around the two ships rippled. The bright horizon seemed to stretch along its length, then snapped back. Anja's breathing quickened. Visual reference is useless. Ilyan answered from navigation. Use the Resolute's beacon. I see 3. The middle one is us. That feels like a guess. It is paired with math. Better. She pushed toward the school vessel. The tug and transport drifted closer. Mara matched their motion. Range. Impossible, Ilyan said. Estimate. 200 meters. Anja. I see the brace. She fired the towhead. The magnetic clamp struck. 1 failed, 2 held. Contact. Ben watched the load. Not enough. Anja attached a manual safety line. It's what we have. Get back. She pushed off. The tow cable tightened before she reached the Resolute. The entire tug jerked. Anja spun. Her safety tether snapped taut. Ben's voice sharpened. Cut thrust. Mara reduced power. The school ship continued falling. The tow cable screamed through the hull. Not sound through space. Vibration translated by metal. The Resolute began sliding with it. Ben stared at the numbers. Load is 3 times predicted. Can the mount hold? Mara asked. For a few seconds. Enough to pull them clear. No. The answer came too quickly. Mara increased thrust anyway. Ben looked at her. Mara. I heard you. Then why are you adding power? Because they're still moving. So are we. The tug's engines climbed. The replacement tow mount groaned. Bolts shifted inside the frame. 1 warning turned red, then another. Anja reached the airlock and slammed the inner control. I'm aboard. Ben grabbed the emergency release. Mara saw him. Don't. The mount is tearing out. Give me 5 seconds. We don't have 5. The bright horizon rolled. The tow cable twisted around the tug's stern. A structural alarm filled the bridge. Ben's left hand closed around the release. His grip failed. The controls slipped. He tried again. Pain crossed his face. Anja reached engineering and hit the manual release with both hands. The tow cable separated. The Resolute snapped free. The school ship dropped away. Faster now. Its engines restarted. Too early. The forward brace tore loose from the hull. A section of the engine frame went with it. Flame and debris spread behind the transport. Odelia's voice came over the channel. Bright horizon, reduce thrust. No answer. The transport spun. 1 engine continued firing. The other had gone dark. Mara turned the tug. Can we reconnect? Ben stared at the damage report. No. What about another point? No. There has to be something. There is. His voice rose. The bridge fell silent. Ben looked down at his hand, then at the tow mount schematic. Half the mounting frame had shifted 10 centimeters aft. Another attempt would tear it free. Mara looked toward the falling ship. A smaller vessel broke from the convoy, one of the ore haulers. It fired lateral thrusters and moved alongside the school transport. Odelia shouted over the open channel. Grayson returned to formation. The ore captain ignored her. A short-range tractor field locked onto the bright horizon, not enough to pull it out, enough to slow the spin. The school vessel stabilized. Its descent continued, slower, alive. For now, Mara sat back. Nobody spoke. The failure filled the bridge, not theoretical, not temporary, physical, visible. They had arrived. They had attached a cable. They had pulled, and nothing had improved. Ben finally said, I'm sorry. Anja looked toward him from engineering. For what? The mount. You didn't install the corridor. I told her it might hold. It did. Not long enough. Mara turned from the window. Enough. Ben looked at her. She pointed toward the convoy. We learned something. That direct tow doesn't work. Yes. That's an expensive lesson. Yes. He looked toward the damaged school transport. People could have died. They still might. Nobody pretended otherwise. Odelia Brandt appeared on the main display again. Her expression had changed. Less irritated, more tired. You see it now. Mara nodded. We can't pull you out one at a time. No. The captain leaned back. Behind her, emergency lights flickered. We tried the same thing with the Ariadne's gift. Mara understood. That's how you lost it. Yes. Odelia looked away for a moment. When the cable broke, it hit their port fuel tank. The bridge remained quiet. Mara thought of the 41 people aboard, 27 rescued, 14 not. You should have told me. You wouldn't have listened. Mara wanted to deny that, couldn't. Odelia continued. You came here because leaving people behind is impossible for you. That doesn't make every rescue possible. The words struck harder because Mara had already been thinking them. Ilyan turned from navigation. Odelia is correct. Everyone looked at him. The Versh folded his upper hands over the lower pair, a posture he used when forcing himself to remain calm. At Kepri, we understood the failure. Rotation. Structural load. Fusion containment. Here, we do not understand the field. We do not know its origin. We do not know whether the ships are falling through space, or whether the space around them is changing. Mara's expression hardened. What are you saying? I am asking whether you intend to continue because a solution exists. He hesitated, or because leaving has become something you are no longer capable of considering. Ben looked down. Anja stopped moving. Even Odelia remained silent on the display. Mara stared at Ilyan. The question angered her, mostly because it was not unfair. You think I'm chasing Kepri? I think Kepri taught all of us that refusing to leave could save thousands. His throat scales darkened. It may also have taught us the wrong lesson. Mara stood. You want to withdraw? No. Then what do you want? Certainty. She laughed once without humor. You picked the wrong ship. I know. That softened something. Not enough, Ilyan continued. My people require 2 independent conclusions before accepting a dangerous course. Paired certainty. Because one confident person can be wrong. Mara looked toward the damaged school ship. I'm aware. I am not asking you to stop. I am asking you to let someone else determine whether there is a path forward. 2. Ilyan unfolded all 4 hands. Me. The answer surprised her. Perhaps it surprised him too. Mara looked around the bridge, at Ben's shaking hand. At Anja standing beside the emergency release. At the ruined tow mount warning. At Odelia waiting, then back at Ilyan. What do you need? Everything. Engine records. Mass. Thrust timing. Relative positions. Every failed escape attempt. Odelia nodded. You'll have them. Ilyan turned toward the convoy display. 11 ships, different engines, different masses, different damage, all falling toward the same broken anchor, not independently, together. His lower eyes narrowed. Captain Brandt? Yes. When one ship fires its engines, what happens to the others? Nothing. That cannot be true. It is. What happens to their apparent position? Odelia looked toward someone off-screen. Data appeared. Ilyan studied it. His throat scales slowly changed color, not fear, concentration. The ships are not trapped separately. Mara came closer. What are you seeing? The field responds to combined mass. Each engine burn changes the path of every other vessel. Ben looked over. So one ship pulls on the whole group. Not exactly. Close enough. No. Then explain it badly. Ilyan enlarged the convoy. Curved lines appeared between the ships, not tow lines, gravitational relationships. The field has already made them a system. Odelia stared. We've been fighting it ship by ship. Yes. Mara looked at the display, and losing. Yes. Ilyan's hands began moving faster. If individual thrust fails because the convoy is linked. He looked toward Mara. Then perhaps the mistake is trying to separate them. The first rescue had failed. The bright horizon was still falling. The Resolute's tow mount was damaged. People had already died proving what would not work. But for the first time since finding the convoy, Ilyan was no longer studying 11 trapped ships. He was studying one machine made from all of them. Chapter 4. The Chain. Ilyan worked for 6 hours without leaving the navigation station. At the end of the first hour, Mara brought him water. At the end of the second, Anja brought him food. At the end of the third, Ben carried in a second chair, sat beside him, and began arguing with his equations. By the 5th hour, the galley table had been folded against the wall and the bridge had become a workshop. Ship diagrams covered every display. Thrust logs scrolled across the cracked console. Handwritten notes had spread onto the bulkhead beside the label that still read, "Don't hit this one." Nobody remembered what the warning meant. Ben nearly leaned against it twice. Anja stopped him both times. The Resolute drifted at the edge of the convoy's decaying formation with engines barely above idle. Outside, the trapped ships continued their slow spiral toward the ruined transit anchor. The motion was almost too gradual to see. That made it worse. Disaster should have had the decency to look urgent. Instead, it moved at the speed of paperwork. Mara stood behind Ilyan. How bad? He did not look up. That depends. On what? Whether you want the answer as captain or as a person who needs to sleep tonight. The captain, bad, and the other answer, worse. She pulled over the second chair. Ben was using it as a tool shelf. She moved 3 calibration meters onto the floor and sat. What have you found? Ilyan enlarged the convoy map. 11 ships appeared as points inside a field of curved lines. The paths shifted constantly, not because the vessels moved unpredictably, because distance itself refused to remain stable. The transit anchor is still operating, Ilyan said. Poorly. That may be generous. Ben leaned over from the next console. It's not generating a passage. No, it's generating the beginning of one. Anja looked toward the broken ring on the display. Beginning to where? Ilyan paused. Unknown, Mara frowned. How unknown? There are no coordinates. No destination lock. No stable endpoint. So the anchor is pulling everything toward a door that doesn't open. That is an imprecise description. Is it wrong? No. Then we'll keep it. Ilyan continued. The ships are caught in one shared distortion. Each vessel's mass changes the local field. Each engine burn affects the others. The convoy has been treating itself as 11 ships. It needs to behave as one. Ben folded his arms. That sounds easier when you say it slowly. It is not. Good. I was worried. Captain Odelia Brandt joined them by remote projection. Her image flickered every few seconds. At one point, she appeared facing backward. Nobody commented. The corridor had already done stranger things. You want us all to fire engines together, she said. Not simply together, Ilyan answered. In sequence, matched by mass, thrust capacity, and relative position. Each ship receives a partner. 2 vessels independently confirm one another's timing. Odelia looked toward Mara. Is this a Versh thing? Mara nodded. They don't trust confident people. That sounds healthy. Ilyan's throat scales darkened. It is more specific than that. Early Versh cities were built beneath unstable ice shelves. Any major structural decision required 2 engineers working separately. If their calculations agreed, construction proceeded. If they did not, everyone stayed home. Ben looked up. What if both engineers were wrong? Then we named the crater. Odelia gave a tired laugh. All right. Pairs. What does that do for us? Ilyan shifted the display. The convoy reorganized into linked groups. At present, each ship responds after observing movement. That delay causes overcorrection. One vessel fires. Another compensates. A third compensates for the compensation. By the time the convoy stabilizes, it has lost more distance. So we stop reacting, Mara said. Yes, we agree beforehand. Exactly. Odelia leaned toward the camera. And if one ship fails to fire? The paired vessel adjusts. If both fail, the next pair absorbs the difference. Ben frowned. That's a lot of absorbed difference. Yes, will it work? Ilyan's hand stopped. He looked at Mara, then Odelia, then the convoy. I do not know. Nobody liked the answer. Nobody accused him of hiding anything. That mattered. The first problem was communication. Signals inside the corridor did not merely arrive late. They arrived out of order. A ship could receive an instruction before it was sent, miss the correction, then hear the original again 10 minutes later. The Resolute had no electronic warfare specialist. It had Ilyan, 3 damaged relay dishes, and Ben refusing to accept the phrase impossible. Anja climbed into the port sensor crawl space with a tool case and a lamp between her teeth. Ben followed until she turned around and blocked the passage. "No," he looked offended. "I haven't said anything. You were going to? I was going to help. You were going to crawl into a space you cannot turn around in with a shoulder that already doesn't work properly." "It works poorly. That is still a form of working." Anja held out one hand. "Give me the phase coupler." Ben searched his belt, then his pockets, then the tool case. Anja watched. "You lost it." "I did not. It's in your left hand." Ben looked down. The phase coupler sat in his left hand. He passed it to her without comment. Anja waited. He sighed. "Fine. You may tell everyone. I already have." Mara's voice came from the bridge speaker. "We heard." Ben looked toward the ceiling. "I hate this ship." The ship gave a metallic click from somewhere aft. Anja smiled. "It heard you." They converted the Resolute's external relay system into a timing beacon. It could not transmit reliable speech. It could transmit pulses, simple ones, short, long, repeated, harder for the corridor to distort. Each vessel received a coded sequence, not words, timing. The pilgrimage ship volunteered to test first. Its captain was a soft-spoken Kesh elder named Ravik, whose people wore gold cords around their wrists for each journey completed. He had 34 cords. He claimed this was his least relaxing pilgrimage. The silver current paired with the pilgrimage vessel, the 2 ore haulers paired with each other, the medical transport linked with the school vessel. The family freighters formed another group. The luxury yacht refused its assigned partner. Its owner appeared on the shared channel wearing a silk robe and an expression of permanent offense. "This arrangement places my vessel behind a cargo hauler." Ilyan answered, "Yes." "The exhaust will damage our hull finish." Ben looked at the yacht's telemetry. "If the corridor eats you, the finish becomes less relevant." The owner stared. "Who is that?" "Engineering." "Replace him." Mara said. "No." The owner continued. "My ship has superior engines." "Your ship also fired out of sequence 4 times yesterday," Odelia said, "because your formation was inefficient. Your formation nearly killed a medical transport." "That is an exaggeration." "The medical transport captain joined the channel." "It was not." The yacht owner looked around as though outnumbered by poor manners. Mara leaned toward the display. "You have 2 choices. You pair with the ore hauler, or we treat you as unpredictable mass and plan around losing you." The owner's expression changed. "You would abandon us." "No, we'd stop trusting you." That landed harder. His answer came more quietly. "We will pair," Ben muttered. Amazing what honesty does. The next problem was fuel. Several ships had enough power to slow their descent. None had enough to escape alone. Together they might, if every burn was exact, if no engine failed, if the anchor did not change behavior, if the corridor did not decide to invent another rule. Ben studied the convoy's engineering data while flexing his left hand under the console. Mara noticed. "Pain?" "No." "Ben?" "Yes." "Which answer was that?" "The one I wanted you to accept." Anja returned from the relay crawlspace. "Then try again." He looked between them. "My hand goes numb after 20 minutes. "How long has that been happening?" Mara asked. "Since Kepri." The bridge became quiet, not shocked. Everyone had suspected. Hearing it made it real. Anja set down her tools. "You said it was improving." "It did. Then it stopped." "Apparently." Mara's voice hardened. "You should have told me." "I am telling you. 6 months late. I was busy." "Doing what?" "Keeping the ship from falling apart." Anja folded her arms. "The ship has survived worse than your honesty." Ben looked toward the convoy. "We do not have another engineer." "We have you," Mara said. "We also have Anja." He glanced at her. Anja did not smile. She did not need reassurance. She needed him to understand. Ben looked back at the engineering display. "Then she runs field modifications." "I handle system modeling." Mara nodded. "Good." Ben frowned. "That was too easy. You expected me to argue? I prepared several points. Save them. You'll need them later." The first convoy rehearsal happened without moving the ships. Engines remained cold. Each captain responded to pulse codes. One long, 2 short, pause, paired confirmation. The signals traveled through the convoy, sometimes cleanly, sometimes doubled. The school vessel received one sequence 6 times. The medical transport received none. Ilyan adjusted. They tried again. And again. Between rehearsals, life continued. The pilgrimage vessel transmitted a low song across the relay network, not as communication, as rhythm. Its crew used the steady beat to coordinate engine teams who could no longer trust their clocks. The school children heard it and began singing along. Badly. The Kesh pilgrims found this charming. Their captain claimed it improved morale. The teachers claimed nothing could make the students quieter, so they accepted morale. One of the family freighters sent preserved fruit to the Silver Current through a docking tube. Odelia sent back coffee. Mara tried it, made a face. That's terrible. Odelia appeared on the galley screen. You have no taste. Correct. And it still offended me. Ben took the cup, drank half, shrugged. I've had worse. Anja looked at him. You drink engine room coffee. Exactly. Ilyan stood by the galley stove making another pot of versh broth. Odelia stared through the screen. What is that smell? Mara pointed toward Ilyan. His childhood. It smells damp. It is comforting, Ilyan said. To whom? My people. Odelia considered this. Your people are brave. That earned a real laugh. For 10 minutes, nobody discussed the corridor. Mara sat at the crooked table. Ben ate with his good hand. Anja complained that the fruit was too sweet while taking a second piece. Ilyan checked his private terminal beneath the table. The council appointment message still waited. Final response required within 12 hours. He closed it. Mara noticed. What was that? Nothing. She looked at him. Ilyan was not good at lying. His species had visible throat scales and 4 hands that all became suspicious at once. Mara waited. He sighed. The council navigation directorate offered me a position. Ben stopped chewing. Anja looked up. Mara said nothing. That was worse than any reaction Ilyan had prepared for. He continued. Senior corridor analyst. Permanent appointment. Better pay, stable hours. Ben asked. Do they know you work here? That may be why they offered. Anja looked toward Mara. Mara still had not spoken. Ilyan folded his upper hands. I intended to tell you. When? Mara asked. This morning. Before the distress call. Yes, you've been intending for 4 days. His throat scales darkened. Possibly. Ben leaned back. How much better is the pay? Substantially. Take me with you. Anja kicked his chair. He looked offended. Mara's expression remained unreadable. When do they need an answer? 12 hours. Then answer. Ilyan stared. That is all. What do you want me to say? He had not expected the question. He looked around the galley, at the mismatched walls, the short table leg, the apron hanging by the stove. The metal tasting water. He had rehearsed Mara being angry or dismissive or joking so she would not have to say anything real. Her calm unsettled him more. I do not know. Mara nodded. Then figure it out. She stood. Convoy rehearsal in 15. Ilyan watched her leave. Ben waited until the hatch closed. She took that well. Anja shook her head. No. She took it quietly. The final rehearsal almost worked. Every pair confirmed. Every ship matched the pulse. The simulated burns aligned within 1/10 of a second. Then the bright horizon missed its second command. The school ship's timing relay had failed. Its paired vessel, the medical transport, compensated exactly as planned. The correction passed through the convoy. The formation remained stable. Ilyan stared at the model. Again. They repeated it. A family freighter missed a confirmation. Its partner adapted. Again, one ore hauler reported reduced thrust. The chain adjusted. Again, each failure changed the system. The system survived. Mara stood behind Ilyan. Paired certainty? No. He looked at the convoy model. Paired responsibility. She smiled slightly. That sounds deeper than you intended. It was a technical statement. Of course. Odelia appeared on the main display. Are we ready? Ilyan checked every ship, fuel, thrust, mass, timing. The falling school vessel had stabilized with help from the ore hauler, but its reserves were almost gone. The convoy did not have another 6 hours, perhaps not another 3. We are ready to attempt it, he said. Odelia frowned. That is not the same answer. No, it is the honest one. Mara opened the convoy-wide channel. All vessels prepare for synchronized burn. Across 11 ships, engines began warming. The ruined transit anchor glowed at the center of the distortion. Stars stretched around it. Hull plates creaked. The Resolute's repaired tow mount remained damaged and useless for pulling a ship, but its relay beacon pulsed steadily. One long, too short pause. Confirm. The response returned through the convoy. One pair at a time, pilgrims, miners, students, families, doctors, rich fools on a polished yacht, all of them answering the same rhythm. Ilyan rested 4 hands on the controls. Mara looked toward him. Your call. He swallowed, then sent the first pulse. Every engine in the convoy fired, not at once but together. The ships shifted. For one terrible second, the field tightened around them. The broken anchor grew larger. Then the convoy moved outward. Only a few meters, barely enough for the sensors to prove, but outward. Odelia's tired face appeared on the display. Was that us? Ilyan checked again, then again. His throat scales brightened. Yes. Mara leaned back. Do it again. The second coordinated burn began. This time the corridor pushed back. Chapter 5. Cut the last ship loose. The corridor pushed back by changing the rules. The second burn began exactly as planned. The Silver Current fired first. The pilgrimage ship answered. The ore haulers matched one another. The medical transport and Bright Horizon joined half a second later. The family freighters followed. The luxury yacht came last, exactly where Ilyan had ordered it. For 4 seconds, the convoy moved outward. Then every navigation display aboard the Resolute went white, not blank. White, the ruined transit anchor flared across the sensors, its broken ring suddenly bright enough to cast shadows through the forward windows. The timing beacon screamed. Ilyan tore one hand away from the controls and reduced the signal. "What happened?" Mara asked. The field compressed. "Why, I do not know." Useful answer. It remains accurate. The convoy shuddered. Ships that had been separated by kilometers appeared to lurch toward one another as the distortion folded distance between them. The nearest ore hauler filled half the forward display, then vanished. Ben grabbed the edge of his console. That wasn't real. Anja looked at the empty window. It looked real. That is why it was rude. Ilyan checked the convoy positions. Relative distances unchanged. "Then why did we nearly hit them?" Mara asked. "We did not. We saw their hull rivets. The field altered the light path." Mara stared at him. "Say that in a way I can fly. Do not trust the windows." "Good." That was almost useful. The timing pulses returned from the convoy. One pair answered, then another. Late, distorted, still coming, the ships had held formation. Barely. Odelia appeared on the main display. Her image doubled before settling. "Report." Mara looked toward Ilyan. He answered. The convoy moved outward by 400 meters. Odelia waited. "That sounds good. We lost almost 3 kilometers when the field contracted." "That sounds less good." "Yes." "Can it happen again?" "Yes." "Will it?" "I would be surprised if it did not." Odelia leaned back in her chair. "Wonderful." A voice on her bridge called out, "Fuel update." Odelia looked aside. Her expression changed. Mara noticed. "How bad?" "We have enough for 6 more full burns." Ilyan shook his head. "We require 9. Then redesign the universe." Ben said he's working on it. Odelia ignored him. "What happens if we shorten the burns?" "The field responds to total force," Ilyan said. "Less force may reduce compression." "May." "Yes." "And may also fail to move us." "Yes." Odelia closed her eyes, only briefly. "Captain Velez." "Yes." "Your people answer questions in a way that makes every option sound unpleasant." Mara looked around the bridge. "We're honest." "That is not always the same thing." "No." "It usually helps." The convoy held position, while Ilyan rebuilt the timing sequence. Nobody called it resting. Resting implied safety, and no one felt safe. The engines cooled, fuel pumps were checked, crews drank water, changed air filters, and sat down wherever they happened to be standing. Aboard the Resolute, Mara found Ben in the aft machinery passage with his shoulder pressed against a bulkhead. The corridor was narrow and too warm. Replacement cables ran openly along one wall because the proper covers had never arrived. Ben held a diagnostic scanner in his right hand. His left hung at his side. "You hiding?" Mara asked. "No." "You're behind 2 engine housings." "I'm diagnosing." "What?" "Myself." She leaned against the opposite wall. "What's the result?" "Old." "You're 42. Ancient in engineering years." "You're avoiding the question." He flexed his left hand. The fingers moved slowly. "Feeling came back." "When did it leave?" "During the tow attempt." "And you didn't mention it." "It seemed temporary." "It still does." "Yes." "That wasn't convincing." "I'm tired." "That one was." Ben looked toward the exposed cables. "I should have caught the mount failure earlier." "You did catch it." "After we attached." "Before it tore out?" "Anja had to release it." "Yes." "She shouldn't have had to." Mara folded her arms. "Are we talking about the mount?" Ben looked at her. "No." "Kepri." He stared at the floor. The ship vibrated beneath them. A different vibration. He didn't comment. "At Kepri," he said, "I could still do everything." "You nearly died." "Still did it." That is not a useful standard. It used to be. Mara's expression softened. Ben. He shook his head. If I stop being the person who can fix the thing nobody else can fix, what exactly am I doing here? The answer came from the hatch behind them. Losing tools. Anja stepped into the passage, carrying a bundle of power leads. Ben looked at her. How long were you standing there? Long enough. That is vague. It is also the answer. She handed him the power leads. Check those. He examined the connectors automatically. One was scorched, one had a cracked seal, the third had been repaired badly, he pointed. This one fails under load. Anja nodded. I missed it. Ben looked up, she continued. I installed the replacement coupler backward. You never install couplers backward. I did today. He inspected it again. You did. Interesting. Don't sound pleased. I'm not. You are a little. Only because it proves you're mortal. Anja sat on an equipment case. I don't need you to do everything. I need you to notice things. To tell me when I'm wrong. To know which repair will hold and which one will kill us. She nodded toward his left hand. You can do that sitting down. Ben looked at Mara. This feels planned. It was. Anja added, I've been annoyed with you for months. That feels more believable. Mara pushed away from the wall. Good. Then we're done. Ben looked offended. That was the conversation. Yes. I expected more. Save it for a safer ship. She left them there. Ben looked toward Anja. Did she just order us to have feelings faster? Yes. Efficient. Very. The next burn moved the convoy outward by nearly a kilometer. The one after that moved them 300 meters. The fourth barely moved them at all. Each attempt consumed fuel. Each one heated engines already running beyond rated limits. The convoy's neat pairings began to fray. The pilgrimage ship lost one maneuvering cluster. A family freighter reported coolant contamination. The school transport had only one main engine left. The luxury yacht continued reporting cosmetic damage as though this were still relevant. Then during the fifth burn, the yacht fired early. Not by much. Less than 1 second. That was enough. Ilyan saw it before anyone else. Yacht out of sequence. Mara turned toward the display. The polished vessel surged ahead of its paired oar hauler. Its engine plume twisted through the distortion. The field responded, every linked path bent. The nearest family freighter rolled sharply. The medical transport lost alignment. The oar hauler corrected too late and pushed the entire chain sideways. Ilyan hit the convoy channel. All ships cut thrust. Most obeyed, the yacht did not. Its captain appeared on the display. We have a clear path. You do not, Ilyan said. Our navigation shows open space ahead. Your navigation is wrong. We are almost free. You are pulling the convoy inward. That is impossible. Ilyan's throat scales darkened. Cut your engines. The yacht captain looked toward someone off-screen, then back. No. Mara stepped into the transmission. Cut them now. You have no authority over my vessel. No. But I do have the only map out. The yacht continued accelerating. The distortion tightened. The bright horizon dropped another 2 kilometers toward the anchor. One of the family freighters screamed across the channel. Tow link overloading. The yacht owner looked at the shifting display. For the first time, uncertainty entered his face. Odelia's voice came through. If you keep firing, you kill all of us. The owner swallowed, then cut thrust. Too late. The convoy twisted, not physically. The field folded around it. The heavy ore carrier paired with the yacht lurched out of position and slammed against the tension line connecting it to the damaged family freighter behind it. The line snapped. The family freighter fell. Its name flashed red on every display. Lantern home. Mara brought up its status. Crew. Ilyan answered. 48 aboard. Engines. Main drive offline. Emergency thrust minimal. Ben looked at the telemetry. That ship is not coming back. Mara glanced at him. He did not soften it. The lantern home drifted beneath the convoy. Its hull rotated slowly. Lights blinked along one side. Then half of them went dark. Odelia opened a direct channel. Lantern home, respond. A woman answered through static. "This is Captain Nessa Vale. We lost main power. Drive room flooded with coolant. Can you stabilize?" "For a little while." "How long define little." Mara looked toward Ben. He studied the data. 10 minutes before the field takes them beyond recovery. Anja moved closer. "Can we transfer the passengers?" "Maybe." "Docking. Too unstable." "Pods. 4. Capacity. 20 total." Mara asked other options. Ben enlarged the freighter schematic. Cargo spine. External access. "We could run a temporary pressure tube from the ore hauler." Anja shook her head. "Too slow." "We can speed it up." "The hull's rotating." "Then match it." "The corridor is shifting distance." "Then adjust." Anja looked at him. "This is the same argument." "No. This time the people are still aboard." "And the ship?" Ben said nothing. Anja pointed toward the freighter. "The people can be saved." "The ship cannot." Ben stared at the failing vessel. A repair schematic hovered over his console. Drive assembly, coolant system, pressure zones, dozens of solvable problems if he had hours, if they were somewhere else, if his hand worked, if the corridor obeyed physics. He closed the schematic. "Captain Vale," he said over the channel. "Yes." "Abandon ship." Silence followed. Nessa Vale answered quietly. "Understood." Mara looked at Ben. He avoided her eyes, then began giving instructions. "Move everyone to Cargo 2. Seal all other sections. Dump non-essential mass. Prepare the port spine for hard connection." Odelia's ore hauler moved toward the falling freighter. The two ships matched rotation. Barely. Anja took control of the transfer equipment. Ben remained on the bridge. He hated it. Everyone could tell. He stayed anyway. A temporary pressure tube extended from the ore hauler. The first attempt missed. Distance stretched between the ships at the last second. The tube drifted past the freighter and snapped in the current. Anja swore. "Second line." A technician answered. "Only one remaining." "Then make it count." The lantern home fell another kilometer. Its emergency thrusters fired in short bursts. The ore hauler followed. Every meter deeper made the return harder. Mara looked at Ilyan. "How far can they go?" "Another 2 kilometers. After that, the ore hauler may not rejoin the chain." Odelia heard. "Proceed anyway." The ore captain answered. "Already moving." The second pressure tube launched. For a moment it appeared to bend in the middle. Then the magnetic collar struck the freighter's cargo spine. Clamps locked. Pressure equalized. "Connection," Anja said. "Move them." Passengers entered the tube. Not quickly enough. Families, crew, 2 elderly passengers in mobility frames. A child carrying a cage with something inside that hissed at every alarm. The ship's gravity failed halfway through the transfer. People floated into the tube in clusters. Ore hauler crew pulled them through. 20 passengers, 30, 40. Captain Vale remained aboard. Mara opened a channel. "Nessa, move." "Checking compartments." "You sealed them." "I'm checking." "Your ship is falling." "I noticed." Ben watched the life sign display. One signal remained near engineering. "Captain," he said, "someone still aft." "I know." "Who?" "My brother." No one spoke. He was repairing the drive when the coolant line failed. "Medical." "Alive." "Trapped." Anja looked toward Mara. Mara looked at Ben. The old version of him would already have been reaching for a suit. The bridge waited. Ben studied the freighter's internal map, then shook his head. "No route." Nessa answered, "There's always a route." "No." His voice remained steady. "The access corridor collapsed. Coolant flooding is above suit tolerance. If you go aft, you both die." Nessa's breathing came through the speaker. "He's my brother." "I know." "You don't." Ben looked at his left hand, then at the image of the freighter. "Kepri took part of my hand. It nearly took my life. I spent 6 months pretending that meant I owed every machine another chance." He paused. "You don't owe that ship your life." The remaining life signal disappeared, not dramatically. One moment present, the next gone. Captain Vale made a sound too quiet for the translator to catch. Then she said, "I'm coming." She entered the pressure tube. The magnetic collar began to slip as the ships separated. Anja shouted, "Pull her through." The ore hauler crew grabbed Nessa's suit and dragged her across. The instant she cleared, the tube tore free. The lantern home fell away. Empty, Ben stared at it. The freighter still transmitted damage reports. Coolant breach, drive offline, atmosphere failure. Systems asking for repairs no one would make. Mara looked toward him. "We need to cut its timing link." He nodded. The freighter remained connected to the convoy's synchronization network. As long as its dead systems were counted, every ship would compensate for mass no longer under control. Ben opened the release. His hand stopped above it. Anja stood beside him. She did not reach past, did not do it for him. "The people are off," she said. "I know." "The ship is empty." "I know. It's already gone." Ben looked at the freighter, then pressed the control. The timing link vanished. The convoy model recalculated. The remaining ships shifted. The burden eased. The lantern home dropped into the distortion. Its hull stretched into a silver line, then disappeared beneath the light of the broken anchor. Ben closed the empty schematic. No joke followed, and nobody tried to improve the moment. Some losses did not need interpretation. The convoy reorganized with 10 ships. Fuel remained for 3 full burns. Ilyan needed 4. The luxury yacht captain did not speak. His vessel had caused the failure. Everyone knew it. Odelia called him privately. Mara did not hear the conversation. When the yacht rejoined the network, it transferred half its remaining fuel reserves to the damaged ore hauler. No apology came over the open channel. The action did not erase what had happened, but it was useful. That mattered more. Ilyan rebuilt the timing sequence again. 10 ships, new mass, new pairings. The ore hauler now paired with the medical transport. The yacht paired with the bright horizon. Nobody asked whether the owner approved. The school children began repeating the pulse rhythm over the comms. One long, two short. Pause, confirm. The Kesh pilgrims joined them. The sound moved through the convoy. It was not quite music and not quite communication, but something between them. Mara listened from her chair. "How far to the outer edge?" she asked. Ilyan checked the model. 3 burns if every engine performs above current estimates. "And if they perform normally?" 4. "We have 3. "Yes." Ben looked toward engineering. "The Resolute still has reserve fuel." Mara shook her head. "We need it to hold position." "We can transfer half." "Then we lose maneuvering margin." "We already lost the tow mount." "We still need engines." Anja examined the fuel distribution. "If we lead the final burn from inside the chain, the convoy's combined field may carry us." "May?" Mara asked. Ilyan answered, "Yes." She sighed. "Everyone keeps using that word." "It remains popular." Odelia appeared on the display. "Decision." Mara looked around the bridge. At Ben, quieter now. At Anja, hands stained with sealant from the transfer line. At Ilyan, who had 6 hours left to answer the council. At the convoy waiting for another plan to become real. "Transfer the fuel," she said. Ben nodded. No triumph, just work. The Resolute moved between the school transport and the pilgrimage ship. Fuel lines extended. Reserve tanks emptied into the convoy. The tug's margin disappeared 1 percentage point at a time. Ilyan watched the final route form. "After the next burn, we will be too deep to retreat independently." Mara settled into her chair. "Then we make sure the chain works." Odelia asked, "And if it does?" Mara looked toward the broken anchor. Light crawled around its ruined ring. The corridor tightened again. "Then we'll be available for the investigation." Odelia stared. "That was a joke. Technically, it was terrible. Fuel is gone. Standards are dropping." The timing beacon began to pulse. 1 long, 2 short. Pause, confirm, responses traveled through the convoy. 10 ships answered. The empty place where the lantern home had been remained on the display for 1 final second. Then Ilyan removed it. "Prepare synchronized burn," he said. Across the chain, engines warmed. The convoy had fewer ships, less fuel, no room left for another mistake. This time, when the corridor pushed back, they would have to push harder. Chapter 6. The Way Out. Final burn began in silence. No one had ordered silence. There was simply nothing left worth saying. Every captain had already memorized the timing sequence. Every engineer had already checked systems until there was nothing left to check. Every passenger who could help had helped. The children aboard the bright horizon stopped singing. Even they understood. Across the convoy, engines warmed. One by one, not together, never together, that was the point. The Resolute floated at the head of the chain. Its engines were the smallest in the formation. Its tow mount hung twisted and useless beneath the stern. Half its reserve fuel had already been given away. The battered tug looked completely unsuited to leading anything. Mara rested one hand on the helm. "Status," Ben answered first. "Engines willing. Structural integrity." He glanced at the display. "Optimistic. Translate. If nobody asks the ship to do anything clever." He looked toward the damaged tow mount. "We might survive." Anja leaned over his shoulder. "The ship's fine." Ben looked at her. "You've been spending too much time with Mara. I've been spending too much time with you." Ilyan watched the convoy. 10 ships, 10 different engine signatures, 10 different masses, 10 different crews waiting for the same pulse. His private terminal flashed quietly beside the navigation display. Council Navigation Directorate. "Final response required." He turned it face down. "Not yet." Captain Odelia Brandt appeared on the main screen. Her bridge looked darker than yesterday. Emergency lighting consumed less power. That meant they were rationing batteries now. "The convoy is ready." Mara nodded. "So are we." Odelia smiled faintly. "I don't believe either of us." "Probably not." The pulse left the Resolute. One long, too short pause. Confirm. The pilgrimage ship answered. Then the ore hauler. Then the medical transport. The timing moved down the chain. Not perfect, not identical, close enough. Ilyan waited. "Now." The silver current fired. Half a heartbeat later. The pilgrimage ship answered. Then the ore hauler, the bright horizon, the family freighters, the yacht. Every engine entered the corridor's strange rhythm. The distortion tightened. Stars stretched into white ribbons. The broken transit anchor brightened again. The convoy lurched. Then moved, not meters, kilometers. Ben looked up. "We're climbing." Anja checked twice. "No, we're escaping." The corridor objected. Gravity, or whatever had replaced it here, pulled back harder than before. The anchor glowed like a second sun. Fragments of ancient station hulls began drifting free from its shattered ring. One struck the remains of an abandoned relay buoy. The explosion echoed silently across space. Ilyan watched the calculations unravel. "The field is collapsing." "Because of us?" Mara asked. "I don't know. Will it matter? Very much." A warning alarm sounded aboard the pilgrimage ship. One maneuvering engine exploded. The vessel immediately drifted off timing. Its paired ore hauler compensated. The chain held. Barely. Then the school transport reported another engine failure. Again. Its partner absorbed the change. The formation bent, recovered, moved onward, paired certainty. No, paired responsibility, outside the forward windows. The edge of the distortion finally became visible, not as a wall but as clarity. Stars beyond the corridor looked normal again, steady and honest. Ben almost laughed. "I forgot space was supposed to look like that." Then everything went wrong. The ancient anchor cracked. A section thousands of meters across broke free. It rotated slowly, directly across the convoy's escape path. Odelia saw it first. "Debris!" The ore hauler rolled aside. The pilgrimage ship followed. The family freighters scattered just enough to avoid collision. The Resolute couldn't. Its damaged maneuvering thrusters answered half a second late. The massive fragment struck the tug, not head-on, a glancing blow enough. The entire ship rolled violently. Every light went out. Emergency power slammed on. Ben hit the deck. Anja caught herself on the engineering console. Mara fought the controls. Ilyan grabbed all 4 navigation restraints simultaneously. The bridge spun, then stabilized. "Report!" Ben forced himself upright. "Starboard maneuvering array gone. Tow mount." He looked completely gone. External cameras confirmed it. The battered assembly that had served the Resolute since Kepri drifted away into the collapsing corridor. The tug no longer looked like a rescue vessel. It looked broken again. The convoy continued moving without them. Ilyan checked relative velocity. His throat scales darkened. "We've lost synchronization." "Distance? Growing. Can we catch them?" Ben answered. "No, not with one maneuvering array." The Resolute began drifting back toward the anchor slowly but definitely. Mara reached for the convoy channel. "Silver current." No answer. Static. She tried again. "Odelia." Nothing. The collapsing corridor swallowed the signal. Ben quietly said, "They're gone." "No, they're outside communication range." He didn't sound convinced. Neither was she. Ilyan looked toward the escape vector, then toward the collapsing anchor. His calculations updated. Again. Finally. He made a decision, not because Mara told him to, because someone had to. He opened the emergency broadcast. Every remaining watt the Resolute possessed poured into the transmission. All convoy vessels. This is Navigation Officer Ilyan Rook. You are ordered to continue. Do not return. The escape corridor is stable. Maintain burn. Maintain chain. Do not break formation for us. He transmitted it 3 times, then sat back. Mara looked at him. You gave them an order. I did. You outrank exactly nobody. I know, she almost smiled. It was still the right order. Minutes passed. The convoy disappeared beyond the distortion. The bridge became strangely quiet. Ben looked down at his tools scattered across the deck. One wrench had rolled beneath Mara's chair. He bent to retrieve it, then stopped. You know. What? I actually know where this one is. Nobody answered. It wasn't funny, not yet. The first tractor beam hit the Resolute 38 seconds later. Everyone looked up. Another followed, then another. The forward display cleared. The silver current had turned around. Behind it came the ore hauler, the pilgrimage ship, the medical transport, the school vessel, one by one. The convoy had reversed course. Not enough to re-enter the collapsing field, just enough. Their combined emergency tractor beams locked onto the battered tug. Odelia's face returned to the screen. You gave a terrible order, Mara blinked. I thought communications were down. They were. Then how? We guessed. She smiled for the first time since they'd met. You humans have infected us. The convoy's combined tractor fields tightened. The Resolute stopped drifting. Slowly. Painfully. The battered tug began moving towards safety. Ilyan stared at the display. You turned back. Of course. The corridor is collapsing. We noticed. You could have escaped. We still will. But I ordered. Odelia interrupted him. Ilyan, you came looking for us. She glanced around her bridge, then back at the camera. We're not finishing without you. The final kilometers took almost an hour. One convoy ship alone could never have pulled the Resolute free. 10 together could. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. The same principle that had trapped them now saved them. Together they crossed the edge of the corridor. Stars stopped bending. Sensor echoes vanished. Distance behaved properly again. Every display aboard the Resolute corrected itself simultaneously. Ben looked out the forward window. I missed boring outside the corridor. Council rescue ships waited. Commander Thalen's cruiser stood at their center. Medical vessels, heavy tugs, engineering ships, enough help. 3 days too late. His image appeared on Mara's screen for several seconds. He simply looked at the convoy, then at the scarred little tug leading it. I count 10 civilian vessels. You should. I expected one. We found more. I see that. His expression softened. You also appear to be missing part of your ship. Ben answered before Mara could. It was unnecessary. Thalen laughed once, quietly. I've missed talking to you people. 3 weeks later. The investigation concluded. The original distress beacon had been planted deliberately, not by pirates, not by soldiers, scavengers. They had learned that desperate ships followed distress calls without hesitation. The collapsing corridor did the rest. Council patrols spent months clearing the remaining traps. New rescue beacons received authentication systems. Transit doctrine changed. Again, the Resolute remained in dry dock, its missing tow mount left an oddly empty space beneath the stern. Ben stood beneath the hull scratching notes onto a repair tablet. Anja walked over carrying a fresh inspection report. Bad news. I've had enough of that. They say we don't meet the new rescue standards. Ben looked offended. They're using our standards. They improved them. Without asking, apparently. He took the report, read the first page, then the second. Finally, he sighed. Well. What, they're right, Anja smiled. I know, we violate. He flipped another page. Almost all of them. How long? Ben looked up at the patched hull, at the crooked welds, at the scratches collected over years of saying yes when others had said no. He smiled. Depends. On what? Whether you want the legal answer. The station alarm interrupted him. A rescue beacon sounded fresh and real. Mara's voice echoed through the dock. Ben, he looked up. We're still in dry dock. I know, they haven't finished the inspection. I know, he grinned. I was hoping you'd forgotten. She pointed toward the docking clamps. How long? Ben looked at the clamps, then at Anja, then back at Mara. He shrugged. If nobody asks the ship to do anything clever. She smiled. We might make it. The Resolute departed 9 minutes later. Official permission arrived 13 minutes after that. No one aboard seemed particularly surprised. Epilogue. Years later, every rescue vessel entering the Hespera Corridor carried compatible emergency tow fittings. Every captain trained in synchronized rescue doctrine. Every navigation computer included a protocol known simply as the chain. The doctrine changed more than rescue manuals. Shipping guilds began pairing vessels on dangerous routes. School crews trained with medical transports. Pilgrimage ships carried standardized relays, and private yachts lost the right to ignore shared emergency commands. The lesson spread because it solved more than a navigation problem. It gave crews a way to make one another responsible before a crisis, not after one. The official manual credited dozens of engineers, analysts, captains, and council committees. Crews ignored the citation. Among rescuers, the story was simpler. If someone asked where the doctrine came from, the answer was usually the same. It started with one little human tug, the one that refused to leave. And discovered that sometimes, the people you save refuse to leave you too.